I was finishing my shift at the coffee shop when my cousin Maya called. The espresso machine was still hissing behind me, and I could smell the burnt coffee grounds that needed changing. She asked if I could pick up Grandma Ruth's medication because her mom was stuck in traffic somewhere on the interstate. I almost said no immediately. My entire body ached from standing for 8 hours, and my plan was to go straight home, collapse in a bed, and sleep before my morning statistics class. But Maya's voice had that edge of desperation that made me pause, that tone that said she was juggling too many things at once, so I agreed. The pharmacy was nearly empty when I arrived, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The pharmacist, a tired-looking woman with reading glasses on a chain, told me the prescription wasn't ready yet. Something about a delay with insurance verification. I sat in the uncomfortable plastic waiting area chairs, annoyed at the delay and mentally calculating how much sleep I was losing. When I finally checked my phone, I noticed 3 missed calls from my brother Tyler. That was unusual. He never called multiple times unless something was actually important. He answered on the first ring and seemed oddly relieved when I explained where I was. Then he insisted, almost too forcefully, that I should join everyone at Grandma's house for Uncle Ben's surprise birthday dinner. Everyone was already there, he said. It would mean a lot. I hadn't planned on seeing anyone that day. I looked down at my coffee-stained work shirt and felt exhaustion pulling at my bones. The prescription took another 30 minutes, and I spent the time scrolling mindlessly through my phone, fighting to keep my eyes open. By the time I finally got to Grandma's house, the sun was setting, and I could hear everyone laughing in the backyard. The smell of grilled meat drifted through the air. Uncle Ben spotted me first and pulled me into a tight hug. I noticed immediately that he seemed thinner than the last time I'd seen him at Christmas, his shirt hanging looser around his shoulders. His smile was the same, but something about his eyes looked tired, almost haunted. After dinner, something felt distinctly off. Everyone was watching Ben's every move with barely concealed concern. My other Uncle Marcus kept refilling Ben's water glass without being asked, hovering nearby. Tyler and Maya exchanged worried glances across the table. The conversation felt forced, like everyone was performing normalcy. On the porch later, Ben thanked me for coming, his hand resting briefly on my shoulder. Before I could ask what was wrong, Marcus appeared in the doorway to get him for cake. The way Marcus positioned himself close to Ben, ready to catch him if needed, made my stomach turn with unnamed dread. Later, as people started leaving, I followed Ben to his car in the driveway. He fumbled with his keys under the streetlight and dropped them twice on the pavement. His hands were shaking noticeably. Before getting in, he suddenly gripped the door handle hard, knuckles turning white. His face had gone ashen, lips pressed together, and he tried to speak, but couldn't form words. I yelled for Marcus, my voice cracking with panic, telling him something was seriously wrong. He came running, moving faster than I'd ever seen him move, and reached us just as Ben's knees buckled and he collapsed against the car. Marcus caught him, lowering him carefully to the ground. He asked Ben if it was happening again, his voice steady but urgent. Ben nodded weakly while clutching his chest, his breathing shallow and rapid. Marcus looked up at me and told me to call 911 immediately, specifically mentioning a possible heart attack. Then he added, voice breaking slightly, that it was his second one this month. I stared at him in complete shock, phone frozen in my hand, before my fingers finally moved to make the call. Later at the hospital, in the harsh waiting room lighting, Tyler explained everything. Ben had suffered a major heart attack 3 weeks ago, but had sworn everyone to secrecy. He checked himself out against medical advice, refused to take time off work, and insisted he was fine. Everyone had been watching him constantly, terrified. Tyler shook his head slowly, staring at the floor. The doctor had said if he'd been alone when his second attack happened, if no one had been there to call for help immediately, he probably wouldn't have made it. That's when it hit me with crushing weight. If I hadn't agreed to pick up that prescription, if it hadn't taken so long at the pharmacy, if I hadn't been guilted into attending dinner, Uncle Ben would have been alone in that driveway, just like he planned.